Good evening, and welcome to the AJP Northeast Asia market close. Artificial intelligence hardware came roaring back Thursday, but Korea turned the trade into a surge, Japan into a narrower rally, and Shanghai barely moved. One global signal reached all three markets today: softer U.S. Inflation reduced expectations for another Federal Reserve rate increase in September, while renewed confidence in artificial intelligence spending pushed money back toward chips and data center hardware. But the reaction was sharply uneven. Korea was the clearest expression of the trade, with the KOSPI jumping more than 3% and the strongest move coming not from its memory giants, but from Samsung Electro-Mechanics in the supply chain. Japan followed with a smaller technology-led advance, while fast retailing moved against the tape. China was the outlier. The Shanghai Composite was up only around 0.25% while still trading, even as two major optical component makers gained. The story today was not simply AI coming back. It was which market could turn that bid into index-level momentum. The KOSPI closed up about 3.2% at around 6,790, making Seoul the strongest of the three markets. Samsung Electronics gained nearly 4% to around 265,000 won, about $182 at a $1 rate near 1,454. SK hynix climbed nearly 6% to around 1.59 million won, roughly $1,096. The backdrop was renewed global demand for AI hardware, reinforced by a report that Singapore state investor Temasek was considering direct investments in both Korean chipmakers. Temasek has not confirmed a new transaction, so that remains a sentiment catalyst rather than a completed deal. But the sharper move came from Samsung Electro-Mechanics, which surged more than 12% to around 1.5 million won, about $1,034. The company has pushed deeper into AI infrastructure this year through capacitor contracts tied to high-performance semiconductor packages and AI servers. That is the sharpest detail in Seoul. The AI trade spread beyond memory, and the supplier outran both megacaps. Shanghai was still trading at the time of this briefing, and the mainland market was telling a different story. The Shanghai Composite was around 3,956, up only about 0.2%. Yet the AI hardware trade was visible beneath the surface. Zhongji Innolite gained about 1.4% to around 937 yuan, while Eoptolink rose more than 2% to around 438 yuan. Both supply optical communications equipment used inside artificial intelligence data centers. But that trade carries a political risk. Washington is considering restrictions on imports of new Chinese optical transceivers on national security grounds. The same threat drove both stocks sharply lower earlier this month and remains unresolved. CNOOC moved the other way, slipping about 0.3% to around 33 yuan as crude prices eased. China therefore had AI winners but not an AI index rally. In Tokyo, the Nikkei 225 closed up about 1.2% at around 68,339. Advantest was the clearest technology winner among the names we are tracking, rising about 3.8% as semiconductor testing shares joined the global AI rebound. We are not quoting its closing share price because the price and percentage figures in the source data do not reconcile. SoftBank Group gained about 1.3% to around 5,591 yen, extending the index's exposure to the global AI investment trade. Fast retailing went the other way, falling about 0.5% to around 77,690 yen. That matters because it is one of the Nikkei's largest price-weighted components, so its decline worked against the technology rally. Japan also had a domestic counterweight. Wholesale prices rose more than 7% from a year earlier in July, strengthening expectations that the Bank of Japan could raise rates again as early as September. The yen was trading near 159 to the dollar. The same global catalyst produced three different markets. Korea turned renewed AI confidence into a supply chain surge. Japan followed, but with consumer weakness and rate expectations pulling the other way. China had individual AI winners without a comparable index move. The open question is whether this becomes another durable AI rotation or simply a relief trade before the next inflation print. Central bank decision, or U.S China technology restriction, changes the calculation again. We will be back tomorrow to see whether Korea's supplier-led rally can hold, how Shanghai finishes the rotation, and whether Tokyo can keep climbing with rate expectations moving higher. For daily Northeast Asia market coverage, please subscribe. Thank you for watching AJP.